Hello everyone, I'm Shel C from Paper Octio Studio, and today I wanted to share with you a project I did with Tattered Angels Decor and DIY paint. These paints are designed for multiple surfaces, not saying they'll stick to every single thing, probably not plastic. I did put some on metal and that seemed to work pretty well, and it works great on these terracotta pots. It's not soaking in or using too much paint. It's just setting right on the surface and drying quickly. It seems to cover in one coat and I don't have to go over it multiple times, so I'm pretty happy with this paint. It comes in an 8-ounce jar with a wide top, as you can see, like kind of like a regular paint jar. And I'm using sponge brushes to apply the paint, so nothing fancy. I'm really going low tech on this one, as you will see later. I figured that the sponge brushes would work fine with a craft project like this. I didn't need anything fancy. This paint cleans up with water. Says on the jar that you should use mild soap and water. I just used water to clean everything up when I was done. And I'm applying two different colors on the pots, one on the rim and one on the body. And then also doing the same to the little saucers that go underneath to catch excess water. I'm doing this project to use outside. On my back patio we have a table and I want to decorate it up a little bit for the summer. It's fun to eat out there in the summer when it's just hot and it's hot inside and hot to cook, and then you just want to go outside and check out nature, and so I thought it would be nice to have some little plants sitting on the table to make it more decorative. I actually bought the paints to do a refinish of a table that's looking really bad that's also for outside, but I haven't used it yet for that. Wanted to try it out on the pots first. So I'm not having any trouble getting a coverage on these pots. I've painted these with regular craft paint before, and I have to do multiple coats because the terracotta is absorbent and it usually just like sucks up the paint, and you have to use a lot of coats. But this paint apparently is formulated to use on multiple surfaces, and I'm not having that problem at all. Just one little coat is all it takes. So once I've got my solid colors painted with my sponge brushes, then I'm going to add some design. And for this first pot, I'm just using all different types of trash. This is a spool from the inside of a Scotch tape. It's got the tape off of it and the spool was left, and it makes a little double circle. I think it looks pretty cool for mark making. The next one I'm going to use is the bottom side of a sponge dauber, I think. And I'm using just an old hotel key card or gift card or something to spread out the paint on, and I'm using, that's a styrofoam plate that I'm using to just spread out the paint and make like a little ink pad type situation. So I've got just different things that are circles, and I do apologize for going off the screen way too much. This is a new setup for me as far as filming. I wanted a bigger space, and so I set the camera up higher, and I didn't realize how often I go off screen. It's not good. I'm sorry about that. But you get the idea. I'm using trash. Things like the next one is a toilet paper roll to make a little bit larger circles using the green paint. I'm spreading it out now with my key card. And I'm just putting circles around everything and all over it with the toilet paper roll as well, which you can't see because it's off the screen. Oh, this is so annoying. Unfortunately, I can't redo it because I already painted the pots. And those are the only pots I have. So the last thing that I added circles with in a couple different colors is the eraser of a pencil. One that hasn't been used, so it's round and it makes great little round dots. Perfect for this. And I've just got the 4 colors of paint, and so I'm using the 4 colors together for all 3 of my pots. once I decide to decorate the rim, I decide I want some stripes. And so I use the edge of a makeup sponge, a cosmetic sponge, and just use the very edge of it to make the stripes around the top. As you can see, one coat of the color goes over the other color, completely opaque. I don't have to worry about that at all. It's opaque. And then I'm going back with my other little circle implements. That's the sponge dauber bottom. And then I'm going to do that in purple as well, to just make little circles. And this pot actually turned out to be my favorite one, just made with all these little pieces of trash. Nothing fancy. Lids that you would throw away, insides of things, rolls that you would throw away. This one, I think I'm using, this is the lid to my water barrel brush. And it makes almost like a little gear shape because it has ridges around the edge, which is kind of cool. I'm just going on the inside of the other ones. So there you see the pot all decorated. Then I do put some dots on the saucer as well around the edges using just the eraser to the pencil in a couple different colors. Now this one is the green and purple one, and I have all these little cheapy stamps that I've made using Fun Foam, the self-adhesive kind. And I cut out shapes and then I stuck them to the tops of water bottle lids. We have tons of water bottle lids everywhere. Drink a lot of water here in Arizona. So this one is like a ray shape. It's like a long triangle. And it's actually on a piece of styrofoam because it was a little too long for the lids. When I did make these stamps, I put more than one layer of the Fun Foam, one on top of the other, before I cut them out to make them a little bit thicker because the Fun Foam was very thin. But that's just that cheap stuff you can buy at the craft store or at Walmart or something. And it cuts easily with scissors, and it's adhesive on the back, so it sticks by itself. And these worked great. I mean, they're not, it's not a precision stamp. It's not high quality red rubber precision stamp. It's messy and gloppy, but it's perfect for this type of a project. And I think they'll also be great on my jelly plate, to make marks on my jelly plate. So those were like little sunshines, kind of the idea. And then I'm putting some dots on with the end of my eraser on the pencil again, because I like how that works. This whole project to do 3 pots and 3 saucers took me 1 hour 41 minutes to complete. Obviously it's sped up to make it easier to watch. Now this time I'm using the outer lid of the underside lid of the water bottle lid, and then I cut a smaller circle and stuck it on the top to do the inside. So I have an outline and then another color on the inside. And then I used a spiral shape that I cut, and then this one is a leaf or a petal depending on what you would want. Very simple shapes, easy to do, easy to make these little stamps for yourself. You could also just cut them out of sponge, just like a kitchen sponge. You can cut shapes out of that and use them to stamp on a project like this as well. It gives it a little bit different look. I'm using my pencil to go around the inside of the flower, and then I'm putting my petals on after that. I had a lot of fun doing this. I'm very pleased with the paint. It didn't smell bad. It didn't, stink up my studio or anything. It was one coat, smooth to put on, easy cleanup. Worked really well. So I'm happy with my first experience with this decor and DIY paint from Tattered Angels. Of course, Tattered Angels is a Canvas Corp Brands company. as is Seven Gypsies. So they're all under the umbrella of Canvas Corp brands. So I've also got my third pot here, and I'm going to paint it purple, and then the rim is going to be the yellow color. So I should have painted all of the solid colors and rims first and let them dry, because I kept getting my fingers in the purple, and my fingers ended up being quite purple. But that's what's fun, is when you make a mess, right? That's the fun part. The purple, the first go around, was slightly streaky, but with the second little, I didn't like let it dry and do a second coat or anything like that. I just went over it again and it was fine. And then the yellow rim. The yellow is very opaque, so really easy to use. It's a pale buttery yellow. I like it. Of course, it's not called yellow. It has a different name. And I will put the information about what I used in the description below. So now I've got my saucer for this is for the green one. And this little stamp that I made is a square. And it works pretty good to make little stripes on the rim of this. And then I'll use it on another pot as well, as an actual square. It's amazing what you can do with the square. You can make checkers, you can make stripes, you can make all kinds of stuff with a square. So that one's done. That's pot number 2. And now I'm using the square on the rim of my third pot. This orange color is almost terracotta, isn't it? It's almost the color of the pots. That's the reason that I didn't paint any of them that color in the flat part. I just used it as an accent, because what's the point of painting something the same color it already is? I suppose there might be a point. I'm not sure what it is though right at this moment. So I have a triangle. I've got a diamond. This is the diamond. I'm going over the orange squares with the purple diamond. That kind of makes me sound like I'm doing a commercial for Lucky Charms. Orange squares, purple diamonds, green triangles. So I'm using the same shapes again, and then I'm going to use a star shape here in a second with the yellow. Poured too much yellow on there. It's a little bit hard to get out of the container if you want to pour it, just like a regular paint can is. So that's the star, and then I'm trying to decide what to do. I decided to add the spiral, I think. Yep, the spirals inside the squares. Then I decided I need some sketchy stuff on this, and so I decided to use my Posca pins, my black and white Posca pin, to just make sketchy shapes. And I am going to seal this using spray sealer. I don't think you would need to, but this particular one, since I used the Posca pins, I think I will seal this one. I don't think they're designed to live outside. So here at the bottom, I decided to just make flower petal shapes using a brush. Obviously, you can use a brush. You can use a brush with paint. You don't have to use stamps if you don't want to. So I'm just making some little yellow petals all the way around the bottom. And then I take the pencil eraser tip thing and make a bunch of little dots. So it kind of looks as if the pot is on the inside of a flower. And then with the brush, I'm making some little veins inside the petals. Just for fun. Then while that's drying, I'm making dots again on the edge of the saucer that goes with this one. a couple different colors using the pencil again. I think that ended up being my favorite tool that I used was the pencil eraser for this. I also like that double circle that the inside of the tape dispenser does as well. I thought that was pretty cool. Making some dots inside the stars because they just looked too blobby. And then I've got my white Posca and I'm drawing white sketchy squares around the orange squares. And I did some sketching inside the petals as well. I mean outside the petals. Then this shows you how I do the dots. I think this part was on screen mostly. So we're just about done and ready for the close-ups. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. And be sure to try some decor and DIY paint from Tattered Angels. Bye-bye.